Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. We're doing your full moon horoscope for the full moon in Leo, which is happening on Thursday, January 25th, 2024 at 12:54 p.m. Eastern time at 5 degrees and 14 minutes of lovely Leo. This is certainly going to be a full moon to ignite that truest authenticity within you, the inner child within you, with the moon in the home of the sun, our other luminary. And this is happening at 5 degrees. So this is happening in the first decan of Leo, which is ruled by the sun. It's dual ruled by the sun. So that intensifies the Leo type energy even more so. Leo is our fifth sign of the zodiac, and Leo is represented by things like creativity, joy, passion. It's also our ego, our authenticity, and what we're meant to show the world. It's a very show-stopping sign. And of course, the sun is ruled by Leo, so the moon is in the sun's home and it's in the first decan. Like I said, it intensifies the energy of Leo even more so because it's in the first decan of Leo, and this decan of Leo is actually ruled by the Five of Wands tarot card. I think that this tarot card is perfect for describing the energy of this full moon in general because the Five of Wands tarot card talks about friendly competition. It can sometimes speak of a more aggressive competition, but all in all, the Five of Wands tarot card is a card that's really about friendly competition or friendly conflict or playful conflict. And this full moon is most definitely highlighting that energy with the square to Jupiter from the sun and the moon. And when we have squares to Jupiter, this is exaggerating the energy even more so. So some of that Leo drama could most certainly come out during the time of this full moon. I really think the emphasis is going to be on more of a playful competition or competing for the best because Leo is the best. Think back to the start of Leo season in 2023. This was right before the Venus retrograde in Leo, which was our first Venus retrograde in the sign of Leo in our lifetimes. Think back to Leo season of last year. So this was the end of July going into the beginning of August because we had our new moon in the sign of Leo. What things were you trying to accomplish? Also look to see if you have any planets or degree points in the first, I would say, 7 degrees of the fixed signs, which are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. Because if you do have fixed sign placements in the early degrees, then your planets and or points are going to be aspected by and in turn more affected by this full moon in Leo. Back to the new moon or the beginning of Leo season, and what were you trying to achieve or what were you trying to create at that time? Leo is a very creative sign, so our creative passions are most certainly highlighted. This is a full moon that is really about bringing out our truest, most authentic selves. So anything that you were trying to manifest or bring into culmination or create around the time of the end of July or the beginning of August of last year is now at the height. We're at the height of the lunation cycle with that particular manifestation. Those of you that are new to astrology, a full moon is when we have an exact opposition with the sun and the moon. So with the moon at 5 degrees and 14 minutes of Leo, that makes the sun at 5 degrees and 14 minutes of Aquarius. And as you may know, if you've seen any of my other videos on my TikTok or on YouTube, then you probably know that Pluto just ingressed into the sign of Aquarius, and of course it is Aquarius season. Not only that, we also have Uranus stationing direct 2 days after this full moon in Leo, and when Uranus stations, Uranus is a very rebellious and electric planet. So this is like electrical shock waves happening at the time of this full moon. So we can never really predict exactly what is going to conspire when we have Uranus doing anything, let alone stationing. If you haven't seen my video on Pluto ingressing into Aquarius, most definitely go check that video out because that is going to give you some background information on the energy in general, because Pluto is a generational planet and it is going into a sign that rules the collective, the people, and we're about to have an Aquarius stellium here in the next week. There's a lot of action happening in that area of your particular chart. See what's happening in the Aquarius and the Leo parts of your chart, most certainly. Also, Taurus and Scorpio are going to be prominent for you. This is a full moon to really illuminate that inner child within you. This is illuminating a part of your inner child or your inner self or your authenticity that you quite possibly have been suppressing and now needs to be birthed and shown to the world. Leo is also a sign that rules over children. So this is really about the childlike enthusiasm inside all of us. Look to see where Leo is in your chart, which house is ruled by Leo particularly, and where the degree point of 5 degrees of Leo is in your personal chart to give you more context on how this is applying to you. And as most people know, Leo is a sign that is associated with drama, so that could possibly conspire. The Sabian symbol for this full moon, we round up to the next degree point, which is 6 degrees of Leo, and this is a Sabian symbol that is really about the contrast between traditional values and modern attitudes. And there's a clash between the tradition and more modern outlooks on the world or modern views. And don't feed into the drama that you have to go from one extreme to the other, because there is a middle ground, I promise you that. And it's actually kind of funny because we're also seeing the sun and the moon squaring to Jupiter, which is in Taurus right now and just went stationary direct. So this is just highlighting that theme of a contrast some more. If you think about the axis of Leo and Aquarius itself, Leo is very self-oriented. It's about your individuality, your sovereignty, and your authenticity. And Aquarius is a very people-oriented sign. It's about the people. And when you think about this axis, Aquarius is our fixed air sign, whereas Leo is our fixed fire sign. So they're both very stubborn signs. But whereas Aquarius is very analytical and Leo is a sign that is ruled by the heart. So if anything, this full moon is really about acting from a place of the heart, even though that might be a little bit hard and there could be some discrepancy between wanting to use your logical brain to make decisions to do something, possibly involving your authenticity or your inner child that needs to be released. But this is a full moon to emphasize on the heart chakra, moving from the heart and not the brain. Now, diving into the aspects for this full moon, guys, as I mentioned, Pluto did just ingress into the sign of Aquarius, is just at 0 degrees of Aquarius because Pluto moves so slowly. That makes it in opposition to this full moon. It is a 5-degree orb. It's a little bit of a wider orb, but it's an outer planet to the moon and the sun. So it's going to be conjunct the sun, which makes it opposite to the full moon. With Pluto here, this is highlighting on tendencies that could exaggerate that drama energy that Leo is known for. And I was kind of seeing this as like backlash or obsession from people or, speculative influences on who you're trying to show the world, on your authenticity. And you might have backlash or power and control dynamics of trying to control who you are, but this is about standing in your truth. This could definitely highlight on emotional intensity or power struggles and or manipulation techniques from outsiders or even yourself. You could be trying to manipulate yourself into not showing that authenticity within you. As I mentioned, Jupiter is also square to this full moon, which makes it in square to both the moon and the sun. But I actually don't mind this aspect, even though it is a square. Anytime we have any contact to Jupiter or even Venus, because they're both benefic planets, there's going to be some sort of lightheartedness. I really see this as kind of almost using like humor and wit to get through any uncomfortable circumstances you might be encountering around this time. This can kind of exaggerate the Leo confidence that Leo is so well known for, and it could be kind of an overuse or an overindulgence in certain things because Jupiter is in Taurus, and Taurus is a sign that is known for indulgence as well as Leo. So when you have a square between Leo and Taurus, there is definitely a quality that both of those signs really like. So this could be, seen as overeating or over shopping. It could be emotionally spending your money or emotionally eating things that are done from the emotion, the moon in Leo, and it involves some sort of overindulgence. So just be careful with that. And even though this is a fun full moon, all the good positive energy and vibes that are going on during the time of this full moon, there is an in conjunction to Saturn, which is in Pisces, and Saturn is at 5 degrees of Pisces. So it's a pretty tight orb. It's 0 degrees. And in conjunctions or quincunxes, when we're looking at transiting astrology, this is really kind of just like a background irritation. And Saturn in Pisces is, I always like to reference kind of cracking down on your spiritual integrity. So there could be something in the back of your mind that is reminding you to stay in alignment with your purpose and your mission and your spiritual integrity or your integrity in general. Or this could be a background noise reminding you of your responsibilities in other areas of your life. It depends where Pisces is in your personal chart. Look and see which house is ruled by Pisces. This just could be a background of stress while you're trying to have the Leo fun and, the good times of Leo and Aquarius axis, but there's in the background, there's just like this little annoyance of Saturn with that in conjunction. Mercury and Mars are going to be in conjunction in the sign of Capricorn, Mercury at 14 and Mars at 15 degrees of Capricorn. I really don't mind this, although it could speak to a little bit of aggression in our communication. But that being said, I really think of this as like quick wit and thinking of things and ideas and doing things very quickly. So there could be an impulsive aspect to these two being together in the sign of Capricorn. Although Capricorn is an earth sign, it's our cardinal earth sign. So the fact that it's in an earth sign is really grounding out that energy. Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn. I think this really adds to the wit and the humor. Capricorn has kind of like a dry sense of humor or sarcasm to them. It could be aggressive communication. So just be careful with that when you have the planet of communication and the mind mind coming into the planet of war and aggression. So all in all, you could utilize the aspect of Mars and Mercury coming together in Capricorn to think quickly on your feet, come up with quick ideas, and then you can use the Leo and the Aquarius energy to kind of execute those things because they're both fixed signs. Mercury and Mars will also be square to Chiron, and this is a 0-degree orb aspect, and I feel like if there is any hostile communication or argumentative type energy that's going on between you or other people, possibly people that are giving you some sort of backlash for being your authentic self, this could stem from some sort of inner wound, because Chiron in Aries is really, the wound within our ego or the wound within ourself or our childlike self. So that's something to keep in mind, as well as the fact that Chiron and the North Node are coming together. This is going to be a huge transit I will do an entirely separate horoscope for, but we're getting ready to prepare for that in the coming weeks. So keep that in the back of your mind as well. Venus is at 2 degrees of Capricorn, just ingressed into Capricorn just days prior to this full moon. Venus is making a sextile to Saturn and Pisces, and to me, this is really just like about refinement of our values. Venus being values, it can also represent our romantic life as well as our money. Venus is the planet of love and money. And it touches Saturn, to me, especially in a sextile, this is kind of just like tweaking things and reevaluating things. Venus in Capricorn is a very grounded sense of your value, so you know what your values are at this point in Venus's cycle. Touching Saturn and Pisces, there's just like a spiritual background frequency that's trying to get you to reevaluate if what you're doing and what you're executing is in alignment with your spiritual integrity. It just kind of heightens the companionship element. Leo is a very romantic sign. It's all about, the fun and the dating and, just having that lighthearted fun in your relationships. Saturn is in the background, just kind of evaluating if what you're doing and who you're connecting with, and also what you're doing in work, is in alignment with who you are spiritually. All in all, I think this is an absolutely beautiful first full moon for 2024, and it is really about shining our truest selves out to the world and not suppressing our inner child anymore and moving in alignment with your heart. That is always the most important thing. I mean, we're here to love and give love. So just remember that, because it is the Leo full moon. If you want to book personal readings with me, you can shoot me a message on any platform, and happy full moon in lovely Leo. I love you guys.